Now it's time to look at the Solid by Revolution tool. This again is a very powerful tool. And I'm going to start by drawing that washer again that we drew a couple of videos ago. This time I'm going to do it as a rotation rather than a regular extrusion. So first of all, I need to draw the profile. And if you do the math, you'll discover that the cross-section shape of the washer is 3/16 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch, or 4.7 millimeters by 3. So I need to draw that profile first. So first of all, I need the 3/16. So 0, space, 3/16, and down arrow, and 0, space, 1/8. And there's my profile. So that's a cross-section of the washer itself. Now I need the rotation. Solid by Revolution. Look at the tool settings window. Standard axes available to us. I've set the angle at 360. That's the full rotation. So it's a full circle rotation. We'll leave these two off at the moment. Let's see what happens. The prompt is to select the profile. So I'll do that. There's my profile selected. And then we have to define an axis of revolution. Well, I'm going to pop across here somewhere. And I need a radius. The dimension for the radius to the center of the washer is 5/16 from this edge, or 7.5 millimeters. So I'll enter that dimension in the value box. So 0, space, 5/16. So there is the radius of my revolution. And now I need the axis. Now the axis in this case will be vertical. So all I have to do is just data point and drag downwards. Doesn't matter how far I drag down. And data point to accept it. And what we see is the washer, exactly as before, but generated in a different manner. And it's up to you whether you prefer to do it this way or to do it the previous way with the two circles and the hole system. Let me undo this. You can experiment with different axes for this. So for example, if I select that and move outward and data point, but now change the axis. If I go in this direction, for example, I see a different shape. If I drag it off the regular axes, I see some odd shapes. If I change the orientation, then we see different things again, and so on. It gets quite complicated. It's very difficult to actually define the dimensions for this kind of axis orientations. So normally you'd stay on the actual axis itself. Let's get it back to the vertical and drag down again. Anyway, try and see. Okay, undo that, undo that. Let's look at the next thing. Going to maximize. We're going to work with this profile to draw a bowl or a container, but I need you first to draw this profile. And I'm going to show you where this is. You look at the front view. Here's the shape of the profile. And if you look at the top view, you will see that it's a straight line, so it's a flat profile. You'll find the dimensions for this profile in your extrusions exercises.pdf file. And I'd like you to draw that right now and then come back to this video when you're done, because we have several things to do with this profile before we can actually start to rotate it. So get that drawing done and come back to the video, please. Okay, assuming you're back and you have drawn the extrusion, let me maximize the front view here and we'll start to work on this. Now, we cannot use the revolution tool to create a solid if we have a simple line string. And this is what we have here, of course. This is just a complex chain or line string. We can't use that for revolving a solid. So we need to create a closed shape here. This will be a bowl, so the bowl has thickness, and I'm going to make the bowl a 1/4 inch thick. So to do that, I'm going to go to my Move Parallel tool. I'm going to make a copy, and I'm going to select and drag, and the distance is going to be a 1/4 inch. So 0.25, and again, I'm working in inch units here. Data point, right click, there's my offset of a 1/4 inch. But I'd like to make the base here a 1/2 inch thick rather than a 1/4 inch thick. So I'm going to move this line. So I'm going to select the line. But before I can do that, I have to drop that element first. So we go to the drop tool. Make sure that line strings is clicked and data point. And now we have separate lines. So now I can select the line, use the Move tool. Want to go upwards by a 1/4 inch, 0.25, data point carefully and right click, and we have the line moved. Need to edit this little junction here. So I need to choose my trim to intersection tool. Come back and select that, and trim to the intersection. And that little piece has to go. That little leftover piece, that can go. Delete that. So far, so good. Now I need to close shape, so I need to close off the ends. So we use the line tool. That and that, and that and that. So far, so good. It's not yet a closed shape. So off we go to Tools again, and we select Create Complex Shape. Automatic is on. So select one of these and data point, and keep your fingers crossed that everything works. Yes, everything's cool. We're fine. So now we have a closed shape. Now I can go back to my isometric view and rotate this thing. Okay, so solid by revolution, select my profile. I'm just going to drag out here and drag downwards, and there's my object. Nicely done in 360 degrees, and I have a bowl. Let's do a rotation to see how things look. Is that somewhere convenient? And rotate. Bottom looks good. However, I have a hole in the bottom, which is not what I want at all. So how did I make a hole? Let's undo and think about this. When I selected the profile, I just dragged out here somewhere and data pointed to start my axis of revolution. Big mistake. I should have started the axis of revolution right here on this corner, data point, and then drag downwards. Let's rotate this one now and see what happens. And now we see that we have a completely flat bottom with no hole at all. Exactly what I want. So the moral of the story is be very careful where you select the start of your axis. And this is a good case in point. So please complete that exercise. We will be using this container again in later videos, and it will save a lot of trouble if you have it on hand ready to go.